The story of literature is older and stranger than you might have thought. It doesn't begin with authors, but with accountants who invented a code that allowed them to record economic transactions. But at some point, they used this code for a completely different purpose: to write down stories that had been transmitted orally by generations of singers. The result was the first literary text, the Epic of Gilgamesh, which launched literature as we know it, the intersection of writing technologies and storytelling. As writing spread, more cultures assembled such texts, which became foundational, even sacred documents. These texts began to travel, and we can travel with them.
The Epic of Gilgamesh was the world's first bestseller. Its gripping account of Gilgamesh's desperate search for immortality circulated widely around the ancient Near East and the Eastern Mediterranean world. The story of Gilgamesh's quest and his return home has direct echoes in the wanderings of thrifty Odysseus, that aner polytropon, the man of many moves.
This is Goethe's townhouse. It was here in this grand residence that Goethe did a lot of his writing, and it was here that the birth of world literature took place. Goethe and his secretary Ackermann were having a conversation about literature, during which Goethe expanded on his wide-ranging reading habits that included Chinese literature and Arabic poetry. It was during this conversation that Goethe found a term with which to sum up these reading habits and his conception of literature more generally. That term was world literature.
Goethe understood that literature was older and more far-flung than any single national tradition. It had to be studied as an integrated whole, as a world system of layers, of strange encounters, bitter rivalries, distorted reflections, and mutual illuminations.
This is a rare case where a fictional universe has taken on material reality. A project that started as a novel ended up as a museum, allowing its readers to actually enter and experience the fictional universe it created.
The novel chronicles the story of a family and the story of a man who is so much infatuated by his love to his twice removed cousin from the poor side of the family that he collects almost everything she touches. Later, after her death, exhibits these objects in a museum where he talks about, as in a museum catalog, a bit about each object.
Today, world literature happens in places like Jaipur in Rajasthan, where over 100,000 people gather each year to celebrate literature. Truly, the age of world literature has finally arrived.